Hey guys, Chris here. I want to do a video today talking about the new Netflix documentary by Louis Theroux on the Manosphere and tying it into this channel in terms of masculinity and the aligned man, the stuff we've learned on semen retention, being the best version of yourself, and how this relates to that. So you might not have seen the documentary. I wouldn't say you need to have seen it, just mentioning some points. It talks about the likes of Andrew Tate and all these other big influencers. Andrew Tate wasn't in it, but a lot of these top male influencers now that are getting so much attention are very similar to sort of those teachings, and a lot of interesting points were made in this. So I just want to give you some thoughts and some interesting discussions as well, if anyone wants to leave things in the comments. So when I first seen the trailer, I kind of cringed a bit, but this is kind of what I guess it is these days, like people who are getting the most views, who are getting the most attention, the so-called toxic masculinity. And it does really, the documentary talks a lot about this in terms of what it means to be a man, and they do focus on a lot of the masculine stereotypes of the macho, all of the cars, the nice watches, multiple women. But it brings up a lot of interesting questions, particularly around women. These guys, these top influencers seem to be, as with like Andrew Tate and these guys, like massively promoting like the OnlyFans women, talking to the OnlyFans women, and these are same women that they don't respect, that they say, if my daughter was like this, I would disown them. Yet they spend time with them, maybe some of them even hook up with them. So there's a lot of conflict with values here, which I found interesting throughout the show. And this idea of one-way monogamy that they say as well, which obviously is quite obvious, that it's like they can see whoever they want, but then the women can't. They have to be loyal and they have to be faithful. I think this kind of stuff that's been spoken about has always kind of been in this manosphere, like pickup artists would say. So I think a lot of this stuff is maybe more coming out into the light now, and you've just got these guys who are shouting a lot louder and stronger egos than narcissism. Which is interesting because they talk a lot about, Satanists run the world, and there's lots of these conspiracies that are spoken about as well. And in a way, like, my understanding of Satanism is like worshipping the ego, is worshipping materialistic things, that your soul is like not even prioritized. It's all about the ego, it's all about you. And this is exactly what these guys are doing. So on the one side, they're saying, oh, these people are running the world and they're controlling us, keeping us in the matrix, but they are doing the same thing. And I think when you watching this documentary, it really made me see the lack of spiritual growth. And when you don't have the spiritual growth, you just become obsessed with your own ego, your narcissism, the followers, the fans, the materialistic success. And you chase that, and the women, and all of this validation that you're getting from men and from women, and it just gets to the point where it can get out of control, because it's saying, like, on one hand, like, let's escape the matrix. The matrix is keeping us stuck, but then at the same time, they're talking about money. They're talking, they're obsessing with money, the nice watches, the cars, and all this sort of stuff, which is already kind of in the so-called 9-to-5 world with stockbrokers and these kind of people, Wolf of Wall Street kind of lifestyle. So it's nothing really different. It's just that they're making money, hustling, and hustling is done things like taking money from all of these guys, these young boys, which are giving all of their money because they're probably desperate for a male role model. So there's so many interesting things that are spoken about in this documentary, and when I think these guys are sort of challenged by Louis Theroux, the women look really, at least the wife and the two wives, I think, in the documentary, they looked quite uncomfortable. They look quite sad, really. You can sort of see this low self-esteem. I think I've spoke about this in the video before. If you're creating this false self, this narcissistic ego, you're going to attract somebody else who has the low self-esteem as well. and being more aligned, being a more confident version of yourself, you're more likely to attract a confident woman, a high self-esteem woman who's going to be on her own purpose and doing what she wants to do. If she wants to have a family, she can have a family, but this sort of idea of like, no, they stay in the house and I work and I do this, and it's all about what I do, and she's doing this, and she's the traditional woman. So it's that. But I think as a guy, when you're on this path, we talked about semen retention, when you become so aligned with what feels right in your soul, and you're fully stepping into your masculinity, and you're in that relationship, you know, and the woman will be in the feminine, you'll be in the masculine, and it'll be a lot more healthy. You know, the woman maybe can be in her masculine if she wants to, but she chooses to be in the feminine. That's kind of the equal polarity. You know, whereas there is the hidden kind of the misogyny of like in the talk shows, they sort of putting women down, they're making them out to be stupid, and it's like it's difficult to watch. And at the end of the day, it's about respecting. I think the influencers don't really respect Louis Theroux. Obviously, they think he's gonna try and scam them, but they try to humiliate him. On the boxing game, he's getting a low score and they're laughing at him, and it's like there's no respect for the kind of older, wiser generation. You know, some of these are kids, you know, they're like in their early 20s, and you know, if someone's telling them about morality, they're like, I don't care. And I think when they say they don't care, I think they do. You know, deep down you can sense that there is a care, they want to do something morally right. And as he digs deeper, you do start to get to the root of the problem, which is, okay, I can't really make money in the system. You know, I can't really make money ethically. That's not how it works. If I just said nice things, I wouldn't have all this money. And that's, again, you know, shows the point. That's more to do with the beliefs in their head, that they have to be a certain way. And on to the other point I was going to mention about being a victim as well. Like, if you believe you're stuck in a matrix, and that women have got the you know, the better advantage because of their looks. It's not all women, you know, all women, yeah, maybe some women really beautiful and they're going on all of these, you know, things around the world with these, you know, but again, it's like, is that really something so great, you know? Anyway, it puts you in this victim mindset. And then the guys were saying like they have no value, they have to prove themselves to the world. And I think that's going through external things, you know, from Instagram followers, from making more money. Obviously they focused on the gym as well. So there's nothing really new here. Like, this stuff has been spoken about for a while. It's just giving a lot more, and they've kind of tied in self-improvement a bit. But I've always felt the Manosphere was, in the beginning, was a bit more about female psychology. It was about how you can grow as a man, like why women are doing what they're doing. But now I sort of have this belief that it's kind of been hijacked in a way that it's very political now. It's talking about, like, they're all talking about Trump, and, you know, even like just focusing on Trump and like the religion, like Islam. There's nothing really to do about spirituality in terms of meditation, in terms of you know, going within and working through your trauma and working through your healing. There's none of that. So it's very much just building on top. And I went through this phase as well. But yeah, and I think when they're saying escape the system and it's like vote for Trump, they bring in the conspiracy theories as well, which is really interesting to see this actually on Netflix. People, you know, talking about the Matrix, talking about Satanists running the world and naming the Rothschilds and all these things, which I don't know if it would have been mentioned in a BBC documentary, which I find very interesting. But it is kind of tied in with Trump and also these guys with these crazy views about women, that people will just not take these guys seriously. So it's kind of, I feel like in a way that if you do talk about these sort of things about who's running the world and this and that, and the 1% and the wealthier people, that you're just going to be straight away put in the far right Trump kind of thing. It's just people putting people into categories. So, you know, essentially you want to be, you know, away from that. And but it is also very interesting that a lot of this stuff is being spoken about. And a couple of these guys do break character. One of the guys, I think, in front of his wife, He says like, I'll never settle down, and also I'll never just have one wife, I'll probably get another wife. And then he says like, and then he challenges him and he goes, actually maybe I will have one. And he said, oh, you're doing a U-turn now. And then he tells his wife like to go and clean up or something. It's like you can see him breaking character and trying to be this guy. That's what I see. It's like these wounded boys that are trying to be this macho guy, and because they're with these OnlyFans girls, that it's just all like traumatized people. But these people growing up, this is all over social media. So it's interesting to see what's popular at the moment. So I made some notes here. I was just checking, and you can see with the guy, like when he's questioned. I think the American guy on it. There's an American guy he seems like quite well put together. He's not talking too much about women, but I think when his views come out about women, it's like saying, I should be able to see other women, and then his wife's at home, and you can sort of sense that she's not happy. But this is all, coming back to the overall point with what I talk about this channel, and also being a better man and semen retention, is if you just become more aligned and you focused and you grow spiritually, this materialistic stuff you'll be drawn to it less, because you want to have what you want to have, and if you have a beautiful high self-esteem partner, you won't be interested in just having loads of these kind of women, and it's very surface level, and it's all for show. It's all on the camera. It's the false self. It's they change character as soon as they get on the video. There's violence. It's this documentary is quite crazy, really, to see that, but there are so many guys watching it, and you could see with the guys as well that some of the guys being interviewed, they are generally really good guys. It's like, I can see this lad, he wants to grow, he wants to be guided, and they're latching on to these guys because they're the only guys really out there who are just being very loud and talking about such important matters, which obviously the news and these kind of things on TV are not really talking about, so they go to the opposite. But I do think this overall is what you need to go through as a man. You need to go I went through this as well. You go to your subconscious is like taking you to the people who aren't probably the best role models, but you grew up through school, you've seen these guys getting all the girls, you've seen guys with more money and on TV and the success, and you watch The Wolf of Wall Street or something, and you're like, I want to live that lifestyle. So as a young person, you want to kind of go through that, and you realize when it doesn't make you happy, you then go through and you come out the other side, normally when you get older. So I don't really think that is something that you're just going to learn very early, because the spiritual stuff is out there. I'm doing this video, but no one's going to, it's not going to get the amount of views that other people are making. Like that guy did say, if he did a video like this, it wouldn't be as extreme as if he, really said some controversial things. And talking about the feminism stuff again is keeping in this victim mindset of women. The world is changing. Everything's against us. Women have got the upper hand. We have to work harder as men. I mean, this is just the look of the draw. There's advantages of being a guy, and I don't think it's necessarily in the original, and like not the original, but Manosphere and the Neil Strauss days and the pickup and the game and all of this. It was never really. Obviously, that was quite controversial as well, but it was never really talking about feminism. It wasn't talking about politics and Trump. It was very much about this is female psychology. This is what you need to do as a man to improve. And obviously, there's a lot more to it than that. But it's like the way it's kind of going now is quite crazy. And to mention the good points, is I still think it's good that you can be triggered by these guys, and to see where is in you are you getting triggered? Are you getting triggered because of their money, their ego? It's all right to the times that I felt like I was triggered in a few parts, but some parts I found funny. And when I speak to different people get defended, get annoyed about different things, and so it's good to be aware with you where it lies and how you can reflect on your life and what you can take away from this. And I think they are still promoting work for yourself and go to the gym and prove yourself and become a better man. that is in there somewhere, and the kids are reaching to that. So I think that's still a good thing. I think they're talking about the Matrix, they're talking about who runs the world and all this sort of stuff. I think this is kind of very interesting that these topics are being spoken about. Who is it who's going to step forward and tell people like how to be a man? I don't think in their documentary they can put that out there, because who is really to say, like, as a society, how can we collectively agree what a man is? I think it's just going to have to be, men who are very aligned, and like, I'm doing this video now and just speaking your truth and just saying what you think, what you've learned, and hopefully some guys can get through that and they can get the right message. But where this comes with semen retention, which I find interesting, is that we talked about this and this kind of constant, the more you're constantly pursuing women in particular, such a wide variety of women, OnlyFans women, you're mixing your energy with all these different women, you're constantly like ejaculating, you're withdrawing your life force energy, you're mixing your energy with really bad energy, and you're becoming spiritually dead. This documentary, what I've seen is that there are some guys there that are maybe mentioning interesting points, but ultimately spiritually dead inside, and maybe knowing what the audience is looking for and profiting off that. So yeah, I think it's becoming more awakened, more aware, and going on a rite of passage as men. But this documentary is not really, I think most people, they won't really like it, in terms of they won't agree with what the guys are saying. But I think in terms of where you're at on your journey and your level of consciousness, you can take different things away. But it just made me more aware, especially with this path, that the big rewards are, you've got your integrity intact, you can be very, you can feel good, you can feel happy, you can be present, that you're bringing good to the world, and yeah, you get some super beautiful woman or a sports car and lots of money. These things, again, it's putting you on this high and this low, this dopamine. Where's the money coming from? Are you fully aligned? And this is what I took from as well, just in terms of what you're getting triggered by. And the guy saying, like, it is hard to make money with your full integrity. Like for me, I still do promote events where alcohol is involved and people drink alcohol, but I don't drink alcohol. I've not drank it for years, and I'm kind of against it in a way. But I still do promote events where people are going and they're drinking, and maybe they're getting a free shot or something like that. And for me, that's maybe me out of integrity. But the game is hard. The game of life is just like, with that more awareness, I'm perhaps doing it less, and then it will maybe eventually filter out. But at the end of the day, we have to make money, we have to survive. And I think as long as you've got that conscious awareness and you can admit to yourself, then you're on the right journey. But this is my sort of thoughts from this documentary. I hope you found it interesting. Do drop a message below if there's anything you noticed. But yeah, I thought I'd mention all of that. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.